Here we are at MBA.com taking a look at their free sample executive assessment questions. And the very first question of their integrated reasoning set is what is known as a multi-source reasoning question type. And you'll note a multi-source reasoning from the presence of 2 or 3 tabs of information followed by some questions about those tabs. And you don't want to engage the information first. You're going to do what we just did, which is scroll down to what the question task is first so that you could focus your attention and engage with these tabs individually in the most efficient manner. So we're going to just take some notes and we read, it says, each of the following statements concerning the Schluzachord Song, and I'm just going to consider that the S song, and we can see that we're being asked, select yes if the statement is true, so yes if true, and no if not. So no otherwise. And we now understand what we're being asked to do, and we're going to just take notes about these individual statements so that we don't have to revisit them until we're making our selections. So the first one states in every line, so every line, all of measure 5, and I'm going to just shorthand that as M5, played with key B, so toggle B, in position or key U. So I will know what that means for the next few minutes that it matters. I don't need to write out toggle and position. Then we move on to the second statement without engaging just yet. And it says in line 2, so line 2 is being specifically called out, at least one whole measure. So 1 plus M for measure is played with key A for toggle A in key L for position L. And lastly, we've got every line once again. So every line. The second pitch of measure 1. So second, and I'm going to write out pitch because we've already used the shorthand of P for position, of M1 for measure 1 is played with toggle A or TA in PU. So now that we know what we're being asked for, we can scroll up. And you'll probably need to do less scrolling than I am here just because everything will be full screen when you take your practice assessment or an official assessment. But you can see that the first tab that's selected is actually about the S, not the S song that we're concerned with. So I'm going to click the S song tab and engage it first. And we read a table that has measures on top and lines on the left. And now this is making sense as far as our statements that we're supposed to evaluate the truth of. So we can see that we've got then the pitches. If we read this underlying accompanying text, they are listed just by number. So I'm going to just have to keep track of these numbers and then go see if these statements are true or not based on the first tab ultimately. But we'll take notes again to be as efficient as possible. So every line of measure 5, so we're going to be looking at this far right column here, is played with TB, toggle B, in position U. And I'm going to just write it out as 15, 15, 11, vertical line to separate it, 3, 15, 3, and then 15, 3, 15 after a second vertical line. Now we're going to go to the first tab, and we're going to just make sure that each of these numbers correlates with toggle B, which is the far right column, being in position U. So we see 15 first, so I'm going to just scroll down until I see 15, and we see it down there, and it is indeed in U. So I'm going to just circle the 15s, knowing that this indicates that, yes, that is true. Then we go to the next number, which is 11, and we see that it too for toggle B is going to be in U for that 11th pitch. So we circle it as well. Then we just come over and we look for number 3 and we see one more U. So this is 100% true. All of them have been tracked. We'll put a little check here, circle it so that we don't lose sight, but I'm not even going to go scroll and select until the very end. Thanks for watching this executive assessment explanation video. If you're enjoying the tips it contains, please consider liking it and potentially subscribing to this channel to be alerted when additional videos such as this are released by my guru. Also, check out the description below as it includes a link to our full executive assessment prep course produced with our partners at Analyst Prep. For now, let's get back to this video. Now we're going to look at line 2, having one or more measure played with toggle A in position L. So we've got to scroll back up, and we go to the song. And we're just going to write out the numbers for line 2. So the first one is 15, 11, 16, vertical line to separate. 4, 8, 4, once again a vertical line to separate the measures. 10, 3, 10, vertical line to separate the measures. 4, 11, 4, 14, one more vertical line, and 3, 15, 3. And we want to make sure that we're trying to see if one of these sets of numbers between a vertical line pair is actually all in position L for toggle A. So we go back to the S tab, and we're going to then just go left to right, trying to make sure that every one of these for one of the sets of 3 or 4, in the case of the fourth vertical line set, are in position L for toggle A, which is the middle column here. So for number 15, we see that it's actually in D. So as soon as we find that, we don't even have to look at 11 and 16. It doesn't match, so it's not true. Then we go to 4, and 4 is in L, so we can circle the 4s and go, yes, that does work. But when we go to 8, 8 is in R, so this actually doesn't work as being all of that measure played with position L. Then we go to the next set in between the vertical lines. We've got a 10, which is a U, so that again is out. Then we go to 4, which we know is in L, so that's going to be circled. But then we go to 11, and we've got a U, so that's out. And then we've got our 3, 15, 3, which we should be able to remember down here. We've got 15 is in a D from the very beginning of this evaluation. So if you don't have to go back, that's going to expedite things again. And this time, that is not true, so we just put a little X with a circle for clear indication. And then we're going to scroll back up one last time to the song tab. And we're being asked every line in the second pitch of M1. Okay, so we've got measure 1 here, and we can see we've got an 11, an 11, and a 12. And we've got to make sure that toggle A is in position U. We should know this process by this point. Scroll on down, 11's a U, 12's a U. So these all are in U for toggle A. That's a check. At long last, we can scroll on down and make our selections of yes, no, yes. And for this little practice set, they do not give you 2 additional problems as you would expect on a standard multi-source reasoning set. There's always going to be 3 question slides to address in the set. But if we hit confirm, we can see we got the correct answer. And hopefully you can use this approach for future multi-source reasoning practice on your own.